My name is Gail Anderson, and I was 33 when I learned that not every gift is meant to bring happiness. Danny and I planned a small wedding because we wanted a simple life together. We didn't have a fancy ballroom or expensive decorations. Our friends and family decorated the church hall with flowers and string lights, and everyone brought food to share. It wasn't perfect, but it was filled with love. My mother, Carol, never liked Danny. She believed a successful husband should have an important office job and a high salary. Danny worked as a power line technician, climbing utility poles during storms to restore electricity. I admired him because he worked hard, cared for others, and never expected praise. Growing up, I was always the dependable daughter. Whenever someone in the family needed help, I was the first person they called. I drove my grandmother to doctor appointments, remembered birthdays, and solved everyone's problems. Still, nothing I did seemed good enough for my mother. She always expected more. My grandmother, Ruth, was different. She never judged people by money or status. She believed kindness and honesty mattered far more than expensive clothes or large houses. During our engagement dinner, my mother embarrassed Danny by asking how much money he earned. The room became quiet as everyone waited for his answer. Danny smiled politely and answered without shame. Before anyone could make another comment, my grandmother left her seat and sat beside Danny. She spent the rest of the evening talking with him about his work and thanking him for helping people during storms. That simple act told me everything. My grandmother respected the man I loved, even if my mother never would. A few weeks later, my mother suddenly announced that she would no longer pay for the wedding. Danny and I didn't argue. We adjusted our plans, used our savings, and continued preparing for our special day. The wedding ceremony was beautiful. Standing beside Danny, I felt happier than I had ever been. I believed nothing could ruin that moment. After dinner, my mother stood in front of all the guests, holding a beautifully wrapped white gift box. "This is our wedding gift," she said with a smile. Everyone watched as I opened it. Inside was nothing. The box was completely empty. My mother smiled and said loudly, "That's exactly what your marriage is worth." Some people laughed. Others looked away in embarrassment. My heart sank, but I refused to cry. Just then, I felt my grandmother gently squeeze my hand. She quietly placed a small brown paper package in my lap and whispered, "Don't be afraid. Open this one instead." I carefully unwrapped the package and found a small wooden box made by my late grandfather. Inside were my grandmother's old wedding ring, my grandfather's worn union pin, and a handwritten note. The note read, "Your grandfather built our family with honest work and loving hands. Never let anyone tell you that your worth depends on money. The right people will always see your value." I looked across the room at my mother. For the first time in my life, I realized her opinion did not define me. I smiled, placed my grandmother's ring on my finger, and held Danny's hand. At that moment, I understood that love, respect, and honesty were worth far more than any expensive gift could ever be.